So welcome to the extra super low tech version of how to use the power to a power rule to simplify expressions. So the power to a power rule is when we have an exponent, see x to the third power, and then we raise that to a whole nother power. So when we have that, all we do is we multiply the two powers. So 3 times 2 is 6. So that becomes x to the 6th power. So real quick, I'll show you why that works. If I have x cubed, that is going to be x times x times x. And then if I square that, that means multiply it by itself. So I'm going to multiply that by another x times x times x. And so now I have 3 x's and 3 x's for a total of 6 x's. Now, when we have a coefficient, that works a little differently, only because we also have to apply the 3 here to the coefficient, and we apply it to the power. So this gives me 2 to the third power, and then I'm still going to multiply 3 times 5, so that'll be y to the 15th power. And then I can simplify that a little bit further. I know that 2 to the third power is 2 times 2 times 2, and that is 8 y to the 15th power. Now if I come down here, this is a little bit longer version of what I just did right there. So I'm going to distribute, that power of 2 to each thing inside the parentheses. So 3 to the second power. Now x squared to the second power is going to be x to the 4th power. Y cubed to the second power is going to be y to the 6th power. And then I am going to, that's my cat. Give him a second. His head, his tail, something will be in the, there he is. That's him right there. Okay. All right. So 3 squared simplifies to 9, and then x to the 4th power, and y to the 6th power. All right, so now I'm going to do that same thing here, but then I'm going to also employ the quotient rule. So 3 to the third power, n squared to the third power, and then m to the third power. And remember, there's always an invisible 1 anywhere where we don't see an exponent. So 3 to the third power, n squared to the third power, 2 times 3 is 6. So that'll be n to the 6th power, and then m to the third power. And then that'll be divided by nm. And now I can do 3 to the third power. That is 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. And then n to the 6th power divided by n to the 1st power. When we divide, we're going to subtract. So 6 minus 1 is 5. So n to the 5th power. And then m to the 3rd power minus, so 3 minus 1 is 2. So m squared. That question is actually very similar to one that you will see on your unit test coming up here soon. And then I want to do a quick review of the negative exponents. So 3x to the negative 2 power. Notice that x is the base. The 3 really has nothing to do with it because of order of operations. Order of operations says do the exponent first, then do the multiplication. So what's going to happen is this is going to drop down below the 3. And that's going to be 3 over x to the positive 2 power. And I'm going to go down here because I want to stick with the negatives. So now I have x to the negative 4 power. That is going to move up because of the negative exponent. And that is going to be 9x to the positive 4th power. Now up here on this 3x to the negative 2, if I had wanted that negative 2 to apply to the 3x, that would have had to have been in parentheses negative 2. And then that would have, the entire thing would sink down below an invisible denominator, and we would have had 1 over 3x squared, and then that would become 1 over 9x squared, because the 3 squared and then the x squared. Sorry, my throat's still a little itchy from being sick. So now I want to review the product rule. So the product rule just says that when you're multiplying two exponents with the same base, you add the powers. So this is the second power, this is the fifth power. So 2 plus 5 is 7, so that'll be d to the 7th power. And then down here, this is the zero exponent rule, or the zero exponent property. And that says any base raised to the 0 power automatically equals 1. Now notice here the 0 applied to the entire 2x because 2x was in parentheses. The order of operations, which we remember with the acronym PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction. Parentheses first. So whatever would be in here, we would multiply that first and then raise it to the exponent. So even though we don't know what the x is, whatever is in here would be raised to the 0 power, and so it would just become 1. All right, so that is about it. I'm also going to, for class, share a link to a booklet that we played in class just to practice some of these things. And you will be having a quiz on this stuff on Friday. Okay.